We are going to go over some quick WordPress login stuff. So here you are at your site, and you have to log in. And the typical way to do this is to go up here and add a slash and then type in wp-admin and then hit return. And you should get the usual little window that you log in with. And you can either put in your email or your username and your password, and you'll go right in. Click on Remember Me if you don't feel like continually relogging and relogging and relogging. So real quick, here's Stinkfish and the password, which hopefully it'll work. All right, there we are. Now this is your WordPress dashboard. Gee, how'd you figure that out? There's some stuff you can read here, but basically I dismiss all this stuff because who cares? Posts are where you put blog posts and things that are information that is categorized. Like if you're doing photography, all your different photography could be here. If you're doing a lot of writing, all your different writing could be here. If you're doing art, all your different art could be here as a post. Pages are more for things like the About page, the Contact Us page, the Home page, things like that. Appearance controls basically how your site looks. Themes are the thing that really determines most of what your site looks. But this is also where you look at widgets and menus and headers and backgrounds and stuff. Now, what I want you to first do is go to users. And right now, you know, I made a username, Stinkfish. Now, the thing about this particular user is that it is loaded into the database as user number 1. And there is a hack to get into your website by exploiting the fact that user number 1 is usually an admin. So what we're going to do is we're eventually going to get rid of Stinkfish, and we are just going to use a completely different name. But the problem is you can't change Stinkfish, and you can't reuse the email until you erase it out. So what I usually do is set up a whole nother account doing something like this. So I'll just call this Blue Max, and I'm going to use another email address I have. And I'm going to call this Luke Delalio. And show password. This is using a really crazy password, but we're not going to use that. We're going to use this, which is just as good, and we're going to hide it. And I'm going to set the role to administrator. Administrator lets you do everything on the website. These lesser roles are if you're having other people work on the website with you. And I hit add new user, and now I have a new user named Blue Max. And this little drawing is because Blue Max is registered, and that email address is registered. So the computer system knows me. And now what I'm going to do is go up to Howdy Stinkfish, and I'm just going to log out. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in as Blue Max. And now I'm back in as Blue Max, and then I go to users, and I click on delete and get rid of Stinkfish and attribute all the content over to me, but there. Okay, so now I set up my WordPress website with one admin, and then I swapped it out for another admin. And this is a fairly common thing that you can do to keep things a little bit more secure. There is also a way you can do it by swapping things in the database, but we're not going to do that. The most important thing to remember is do not use your real name as your login name. You get a lot more security if you just don't use your real name. All right, so that concludes this little thing, and we're going to talk about some new stuff in the next video lesson. I have the hiccups.